Hey everyone, what's up? I was trying to do this yesterday live as I was walking home from work. Well, not actually walking home from work, but actually walking home from the bus stop. Tried to do this live, but kind of failed at doing it. My fault, if you will. But I think the biggest question a lot of people have is, ever since it came out, is the Xbox One X worth getting? And a lot of people might say there's some positives, there's some negatives, stuff like that. A lot of people will say that. A lot of people have their differences of opinions. But the ultimate question is it worth it? I mean, when you take a look at this, when you take a look at the specs and everything, is that what really is important? I mean, it's 1 terabyte. Okay, 1 terabyte model, fine, 1 terabyte. It has 4K resolution and provides performance improvements for existing games. They can be displayed at full resolution on 4K displays or super sampled for lower resolution displays. It uses, I'm reading this off a source, it uses a system-on-chip SoC known as Scorpio Engine, which incorporates 2.3 GHz octa-core CPU, it uses a system-on-chip SoC known as Scorpio Engine, which incorporates a 2.3 GHz octa-core CPU and a Radeon GPU with 40 compute units, clocked at 1172 MHz, generating 6 teraflops of graphical computing performance. It also includes 12 GB of GDDR5 RAM, 9 GB which is allocated to games. Scorpio's engine CPU uses a custom platform designed to maintain compatibility with the Jaguar CPU of the original Xbox One, but with 31% increase in performance. The custom platform is unrelated to AMD's current Ryzen architect. The console uses a vapor chamber method of cooling for the SoC, and motherboards are tailored to the exact voltage needed for each individual Scorpio SOS to optimize the output energy usage. The console also supports AMD's FreeSync technology on compatible displays. Okay, that sounds all impressive. But from what Mike and Ryan at Cinemasker were kind of noting, is as impressive as that sounds, is it really much of a difference? I mean, the load times for games, and you have to install them just to play them, seem to be no different, if a little bit slower. The resolution sometimes with certain games like Assassin's Creed, the newest one, seem to go down in frame rate, and that's not supposed to happen. So is it really all that worth it? Some may say, yes, it is worth it, Brian. It is worth getting because it's basically a system that everybody's been wanting for quite some time. They've been wanting something that graphically is probably the best thing, probably the best console you're going to get. Graphically gives you games at a much better detail. But here's the thing. Certain games, certain games like in store, like games you could buy that could be games from many years ago, are not resoluted. And now some people will say some games may not be capable of being enhanced, hence to go, to be displayed. But isn't that one of the main purposes of the Xbox One X? Isn't it supposed to say graphically it's going to enhance some of the Xbox One games, if not all of them in time, and maybe games that are backwards compatible like the 360s and the original Xbox games? Aren't they supposed to, be enhanced? I mean, isn't one of the games from the Xbox One, I think Crimson, I think that's the name of it, supposed to be enhanced? from the original Xbox. So what's the point of saying all this? I mean, it all sounds great, and there have been some good reviews, don't get me wrong. But in the end, is it really worth the $4.99 tag? I mean, in all honesty, you could have easily patched up your Xbox One and your Xbox One S. I mean, the Xbox One S, when one thinks about it, is already capable of HDR and 4K and 4K streaming and 4K Ultra Blu-ray playing. It's already capable of that. What's the point of this? What, because it's now got a cooling system inside? I mean, yeah, again, the specs sound all great and everything, but there is no real big difference, honestly, I think. Honestly, I don't really think there's any big difference. I think Microsoft, and even Sony's guilty of this, have decided that instead of starting from scratch and just focusing on the new generation, a new Xbox system, a new PS5 system, PlayStation 5 system, that instead they decide we're going to just release physical upgraded versions of our current consoles, add in the fact that they're terabytes now of storage and all that, and oh, by the way, the main selling point is 4K. Now don't get me wrong, 4K is great to have. There are TVs at my job that display how good 4K is. A 4K television at my job sometimes gets used to show a movie off a DVD. And you want to know how smooth and nice that movie looks in 4K? It looks very realistic. It looks like it's happening live. The picture looks like it's the movement in there feels very fluid, and it feels like what you're watching is happening right at that moment. It does. But the point is, despite all these impressive specs, the fact that they can super sample, they use what's known as a super sample to basically, if you don't have 4K, be able to still give you that great detail you would get with 4K on your 1080p or 720p television. What's the big div? What's the big difference? I don't see any big difference, do you? I mean, I'm not saying Microsoft's Xbox One X isn't probably a great idea. But the only reason they did it, and a lot of people have said it, is because Sony decided to create the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Pro, the PS4 Pro, to be compatible with 4K television, and that's about it. They created it to be compatible with 4K television. They created it to inevitably be compatible right off the bat with the VR system, which, oh, by the way, they did an upgrade patch-wise on the regular PS4s. That's all it is. That's all the PS4 Pro is. It's basically just an upgraded thing. And some of the upgrades that primarily were selling points for it, they were able to patch on through system firmware updates onto the regular PS4s, like the one I have. Same with Microsoft. Microsoft could have easily taken a lot of these specs and put them into patches and sent them across all the Xbox One and all the Xbox One S's consoles, have the owners of said consoles like myself download those patches with said improvements and specs that were becoming the selling point for the Xbox One X. That's about it. But the question is it still worth getting? Here's my honest opinion. If you have the money, then yes, it would be worth getting if you're into graphical improvement. If you're into graphical improvement, if you're into specs and all that, it's worth getting. If you have the money, if you have the money to get it, now, if you have the money and you feel it's worth getting because, perhaps you want to have a secondary Xbox One, but you want to put your other Xbox One, let's say, in a gaming room or a guest room for your guest to play. Like, let's say you have your nephews or your nephews or whoever, your grandchildren over, your nephews or your nieces, whatever you, and the friends over. You want to make sure they have the current system, or at least the secondary current system in the Xbox One family, in the Xbox One lineup. Well, you would have the X, you would have the better one. It's still basically the same game. I mean, one of the selling points is everything is supposed to play all across the systems. Every console is supposed to play across each other. Xbox 360 gets played across to, you can do online play with the 360 to the Xbox One. You can do online play from the Xbox One to the regular Xbox. Those are the selling points, and that's great. That is terrific to be great selling points. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of it, you could have a reasoning, like I said, to buy it so you could put the other Xbox One in the guest room where, let's say, your nieces, your nephews, the friends, your grandkids, the friends come over and want to play, go in and play the system while you have the current one in your room or in your living room or wherever. If you have the money and that's one of your reasonings to get it, fine. But here's my honest opinion. I would wait. Because if the Xbox One isn't going on sale during Black Friday, as part of the Black Friday sales, I say this. I say wait on it. I say wait till it goes down in price. Because believe it or not, folks, as impressive as it sounds and looks, quite honestly, it'll be worth getting, but I would save my money. I would save it, or I would wait till it goes down in price. Because believe me, in time, people who are impressed with the specifics, with the spectacles, the internal specs and upgrades internally and all that this system has, as well as giving them a 750 megabyte patch or upgrade or whatever the first time they turn it on and stuff like that. Is it really worth? The thing is, as impressive as people are right now, because of all that, the specs, the cooling system, all that, the terabytes, everything that's been advertised as a selling point for this. Sooner or later, the realization's going to hit them that it's just an upgraded Xbox One S. That's all it is, and it's an upgraded version that they could have easily sent patches through to be downloaded, so you can have those specs or those upgrades in some shape, form, or fashion on your regular Xbox One system. That, folks, is the truth. That, folks, is the truth. And I think everybody knows it. But again, if you do decide to get an Xbox One X, like I may end up doing in the future, I say wait. I say wait until the system goes down and then buy it. Because honestly, folks, just like with Sony, all Microsoft is doing is trying to encourage you to spend $500 you don't need to spend. You don't need to spend it just to have a system that specifically is made to play on 4K televisions, which, yes, 4K televisions are going down in price. They are going down in price. But the lowest I've seen is about $348, $349, around $350. Basically, Microsoft is saying, hey, spend $500 on the system and spend another $350 on a television, tax included, and you're looking at nearly $900. And you're looking at nearly $900 altogether just to have the comfort of playing your games on a 4K television screen. Yeah, they can say they can. One of the things that's a selling point is they can super sample it down to where it's compatible and looks just as good on your 1080p television. That's fine, but the truth of the matter is, all this is just an upgraded version of the Xbox One and the Xbox One S. And let's be honest, you can deny it all you want. You could say it's not possible. It is. People have said certain things in technology-wise are not possible. But guess what? They've been proven wrong. With all due respect to Zaran Isaac, all due respect, there are certain things, certain shows, animated, live animated and all that, he didn't think were possible to be put on Blu-ray. Guess what? Nowadays, all due respect to Zaran Isaac, it has been proven that yes, those shows that were not, that could probably never see the light of day as far as Blu-ray is concerned, some of those shows are seeing the light of day. Yeah, they may still be shown in 4:3 ratio and all that when you play them, but at least they're being cleaned up and maybe in some cases remastered if they're capable of being, or they're just being put onto Blu-ray because it's a cheaper way to go. But it is happening. The technology is there. The technology has evolved to be there. And the point is, what I'm getting at here, folks, okay, what I'm getting at is the same with video game consoles. The compatibility is there. The technology is there for patches to be sent through the internet, to be sent to different consoles to help improve the systems. How many times has Sony and Microsoft done that, and a lot of things have improved for the better, and it feels like it's a different console when you turn it on? Sometimes, yeah, they've had to repatch it because some things do act up, but most of the time when those patches and software updates get sent, how many times has it felt like a different console? Even though it's still the same, it still has your profile, it still has your saves and all that, how many times has it felt like a different console? A lot. That is why it's not impossible for someone like Microsoft and even Sony to say, you know what, instead of creating a new system or just recreating it and just adding all this stuff to it and selling it off and basically selling it as, oh, its main selling point is it's 4K, it's made specifically for 4K. That instead, send patches through the system updates. There you go. End of story. End of story. You don't have to basically spend billions and billions of dollars just to create an upgraded version of a console that's already selling well for you. Just send in the patches. Send the patches. If you have to, send notes. Send notifications through the messages on the systems to the owners. See, at this time and day, this patch is going to show up. This update is going to show up, and this is what you're going to get. Everything that we've talked about and advertised and said was going to be coming, this is when it's coming. Be ready for it. And again, the technology and everything is here in this day and age for that to happen. So honestly, you can't tell me that it's not possible, because guess what? It is possible. It is possible. I think anybody listening to this knows that. So, all in all, when you get down to it, like I said, if you have the money and you feel that it is worth it because you're into that graphical stuff and on specs and everything, fine. Fine. Go ahead and get an Xbox One X. That's your decision. If you feel you need to get one now as, let's say, a Christmas gift, as a surprise, and say, hey, look, we got the new Xbox One X as well as we got the other Xbox One you can play with. You keep the Xbox One X in the living room and you put the other one in like the guest room or the rec room or gaming room, then fine, that's your decision. But in my honest opinion, I would wait. I would wait till it goes down in price to maybe about 300 at most. Because inevitably, folks, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Everybody that's excited for the system now knows that's going to happen, and that excitement's going to die down a lot sooner than you think. Because unless we get some really impressive enhanced versions of games that are already out or coming in, I think reality is going to hit everybody on the head that this Xbox One X, it's nothing more than an upgraded Xbox One and Xbox One S. That's all it is. And I think everybody's going to realize the same thing I do. They could have easily just did system updates, major system updates with patches and all that, if they wanted to get to this selling point of 4K processing and all that. So that's really all I'm going to say. But let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I am out.